This is Logitech's MX Mechanical keyboard that got released a couple months ago. I picked myself one up, and because I already have the full-size keyboard, I went ahead and I got the mini for this one. Now, for a mechanical keyboard coming in at $150, I don't think this is really the best option. So if you're someone that wants to get a mechanical keyboard, I do recommend that you look around for other mechanical keyboards. There are a few brands out there that make low-profile keyboards that are very much compatible with Mac. Now, if you're someone that's used to a Logitech keyboard and you really like the MX keys and you want this keyboard to be your next productivity keyboard, I do want to mention some things about this keyboard that I didn't like and talk about the differences between going with this one versus sticking with your old MX keys. Now, first of all, for a mechanical keyboard, like I mentioned, there are other options out there, such as for the mini, you can get something like the Newfie Air 75, which is another 75% keyboard just like this one here, and it is Mac compatible, but it has a little bit of different upgrades which this one doesn't have. Now, the first one being the Logitech keyboard has what's called ABS keycaps, and that's just a type of plastic or material that they use to make the top keycaps for this keyboard. Now, this is something that they use for a lot of keyboards, such as the MacBook keyboards. A lot of laptop keyboards have this. It's a little bit cheaper alternative, which also picks up a lot of oils. Now, if you've ever looked at a MacBook keyboard from the side, you can see that after a lot of usage, a lot of the keys start to get really stained. Even the trackpad has this, where if you look at it at the perfect angle, you're gonna start seeing a lot of that dirt and grime that's built up over time. That's exactly what these keys will have as well. And even now, after using it for a couple of weeks, you can already start to see my oils on some of these keys, which is really unfortunate, especially for a keyboard that costs $150, when something like the Newfie Air 75, it's another mechanical keyboard and it has PBT material, which is really different from this because it doesn't pick up a lot of those oils, so they really last a little bit longer. The second reason this keyboard is really different is because it doesn't have hot swappable switches. And for those of you that don't know, a switch is what's inside of the keycap. That's kind of what registers a keystroke. And these you can't remove and put in new ones, where in the Newfie you can. Now, the reason you want to do that is because you really mostly it's for customization. It's for a lot of the typing feel or the sound that you can get from a switch. A lot of them are different, if you can tell. Even when you get this one, you have the option of linear, tactile, or quiet. I believe this is a tactile, so it's browns. So it kind of changes the experience with the keyboard itself. And if you don't like one, you don't have the option to switch it out for a different kind of switch. Now, the second reason why you would want to switch a switch, and this one's very uncommon, it's that the switch goes out when it just stops registering any keystroke. It's really easy on a hot swappable one to just take out the switch and put in a new one. You can't do that on this one without desoldering and then soldering a new switch on. Now, because this is a mechanical keyboard with mechanical switches, it is going to be quite a bit taller than the MX keys, but it's also not quite as tall as any of the other mechanical keyboards because this is a low profile keyboard, meaning it uses low profile switches, which are a little bit thinner, so it won't cause as much wrist pain. It's a little bit more comfortable. But if you are very sensitive to having carpal tunnel or you work at an office a long time, this might cause some wrist pain if you're not used to typing on a larger keyboard. And then the last difference between this one to this one that might make a huge difference for you depending on where you work is that this one is very audibly louder than the MX keys. And that's to be expected. This is from a mechanical switch coming from a scissor switch, so it is a little bit louder. So if you work with someone that gets annoyed easily, or you work in an office environment, you go into the office and you're thinking of getting this one to use at the office, that might not be a good option because it can get quite loud. And like I mentioned, because you can't take the switch out or take it apart, it's really difficult to mod it out so that it's a little bit quieter. Now, for those of you that are looking to stay within the Logitech ecosystem and you're just looking to upgrade, maybe you like the aesthetic of the dark gray or the space gray, it matches your MacBook. This is a really good option because it does have some of those features that we saw on the MX keys. Specifically, the top row, it still has all of those keys mapped to work on something else. As you guys can see, we can go ahead and adjust the brightness of the keyboard. You can go ahead and pause, play, or skip, and also adjust the volume with the keys on top. Now, they did add a couple of new keys. They added a Cortana one in case you are on Windows, and they also added an emoji shortcut in case you use the emoji keyboard a lot. F7 will take you directly to the emoji keyboard. Now, if you do own the MX keys for Mac, unfortunately, they haven't made the specific mechanical one for Mac, so you do have to stick with the keys, being both the Windows and the MacBook options. There is still some software for this keyboard that you can go ahead and hook it up to your computer, and it does come with a receiver, and it still charges via USB-C, and that is something that I have to give huge props to Logitech is for the battery life. This keyboard really lasts a long time. I never had any problems with the battery on the MX keys, and this one just seems to be getting better. Now, that could be due to the gimmicky feature, which I honestly really like, which is the proximity sensor for the backlight. So if you own the MX keys, you know that the backlight will turn off if you're not using it, but anytime you go in to start typing again, it will light up so that you can see the keys. This keyboard has that exact same feature, but on this one, the lights are a lot brighter, which is really great. And then going back to the ABS material on the keycaps, what that means is that these keycaps are also more easily visible because it can be see-through. So all of the etching, all of the lettering does become visible whenever you turn on that backlight, and you can see exactly what key you're typing on rather than something that comes with PBT keycaps. You can't really see exactly what you're typing on because that thick material doesn't allow the light to shine through the keycap itself. Now, we'll say that on this keyboard, the only key legends that don't light up are the F1 through the F12. Other than that, everything else does work just fine or light up just fine. Even all of the key mappings at the top on the function row, those light up as well. Overall, this is a really great keyboard. I don't really think that it's going to increase your productivity coming from something like the MX keys. Going with a mechanical keyboard really is more about the feel, and if you're someone that's comfortable switching over to a mechanical keyboard, I do recommend this keyboard if you're looking to stay within Logitech ecosystem. But if you're comfortable with leaving that and looking for something else, I do recommend that you could start looking more into other mechanical keyboards, especially at the 75% layout. This is a really popular layout for mechanical keyboards. You can just go ahead and look it up on Amazon, and there'll be plenty of options out there. But if you do want a low profile one, your options are a little more limited. Like I said, the Newfie Air 75 has some really great features. Keychron also makes keyboards that are low profile, such as a K3, which is a 75% layout. That's very similar to this keyboard, but it costs at least $50 less. And if you are looking for a full-size keyboard rather than a mini or a small 75% layout, Keychron does make the K4, which is a full-size keyboard with a number pad that you can also go with. It's low profile and it has all those same keys. I'll make sure to link all of the products I mentioned down in the description so you guys can go ahead and check them out. Let me know down in the comments which keyboard are you picking up for yourself, or are you going to stick with the OG MX keys or the MX keys for Mac? Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you like this video if you enjoyed the content and subscribe to not miss any of my future uploads, and I will catch you on the next one.